Hello everyone, welcome finally back to Video Game Movie Mania. Tis I, Captain Logan, and joining me again for the third time, it's Brandon Grimm.
As the name tag says.
We've got him back. I don't know why this time he was worried that you might not know who he was, especially because I
forgot to take it off from work today. It's been a whole thing.
And also we have Austin the Day Ghost.
Yeah, at this point I think it's just like all three of us for the show. We're all going through this journey.
I was going to say, Austin's supposed to be my regular co-host for the show, but so far it's been all three of us.
Yeah, no,
I'm
awesome.
Okay with that.
We've got
I
a guy.
Hope you are too.
We've got a guy who's a video game enthusiast and has seen more of the bad movies on this list than the good ones. And then we have a guy who hardly plays video games and doesn't know most of that stuff, but so far has seen more of the movies than Austin has. And then we have me, a retro gamer who has seen more of the decent movies on this list than the not good movies, and none of us...
We run the gamut.
That's the thing, though, is that not enough of it. There should be a fourth person that knows anything about the subject, right?
That's
like,
true.
We're not qualified.
We almost connect in the middle. It's not quite a Venn diagram.
Sure, and then you put all three of us together, and you're still only about 50% of the way there.
Right, there's just a hole in the middle of the Venn diagram.
Yeah, that's right. That's missing the core, which is like, a Dan or an Eric, somebody that knows something about video games.
And Eric, for sure.
We don't have that on this show, so we're doing the best we can. Tonight, we're going to watch another movie that is about video games, but not based, and only to some degree even, and like even less so than war games, really, and is not based on a video game, but did have a video game or two. It's The Last Starfighter. This movie came out, Austin didn't even know what we were watching. Austin, you made the thumbnail!
I have the Lawnmower Man up. I'm on timestamp 0.
No, you don't.
No, I got Last Starfighter.
I was gonna say, because you made the thumbnail. Anyway, so it's Last Starfighter. This came out, I believe, in 1986. This is one of my wife's favorite films. It's a movie that I have fond memories of. Saw some when I was a kid. Not a ton. It wasn't like one of my favorite movies or anything, but I saw it some. And it's a movie that somewhat holds up and somewhat doesn't. I find this to be a real mixed bag. It's a thing that Brandon's only seen once. He did a video with me on the channel. We did a Made Me Watch on this. I had Brandon and Adam both watch this.
I am looking forward to the scene at the end. One of the scenes at the end, and I'll tell you when we get there what it is. But you prepared me for that scene, and it was still just like hilarious to me, and also like, well, we'll get there.
Thomas Lowe says there's a cinematic universe somewhere between the three of us. DJ is here. Hi, DJ. How are you doing, man? And away we go. This has a lot in common with Star Wars, or I should say is heavily influenced by Star Wars. But that's all I'm going to say. We'll go ahead and jump right into it. So, Austin's never seen this. Brandon has...
I know nothing. I assume there will be some sort of Last Starfighter. Maybe similar in that way to The Last Samurai. I don't know.
Is it not... Yeah, these things will have nothing in common. However, given the Star Wars... I want to make sure and say this somewhere. Given the Star Wars influence on this, I think it's really funny that we've... everything makes a full circle somewhere. Like, this is ripping off Star Wars. And then decades later, the most recent Star Wars movie, the title sounds like this. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it. If you want to watch it with us, and we encourage you to do that, make sure to get it to timestamp 0. Past menus, if you're watching it on a disc, I have the 25th anniversary DVD, although I have not watched most of the special features on this. I think I saw the making of on this one time, and it was a little bit too gushing. Like, yeah, this is kind of a classic, but it talks about it like it's a bigger deal and more influential than it is, and like it's a better film than it is. It's one of those, and deals a little bit too much with the fandom behind Last Starfighter. I hate those documentaries.
Oh boy.
So yeah, but I recommend it. It's a good time.
I don't feel like the one time I've seen it, I felt it was good enough for that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. I mean,
it's a little bit like the Galaxy Quest documentary.
I understand that it holds a place in people's
that's a better movie.
Hearts and minds who saw it as a kid. I get that.
Yeah.
But it was tame.
But But anyway, the only place I know of that you can watch this very readily is just Amazon through rental. There's not a streaming service that currently has this, and I don't know if there ever has been. So that's unfortunate, but you can pay $4 and watch it that way. Like I said, I'm watching it on a disc, so hopefully we line up okay, Austin. Are you watching it through iTunes or Amazon? Or?
Through iTunes. It wasn't even available to rent on Amazon here.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
There
was
here,
a brief moment
folks.
where I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to be a straight story situation, is it?"
That was unfortunate. You really need to see that movie about a man driving cross country in a lawnmower. DJ says that he's surprised that you're in a real room and says that you're camouflaged.
That's what Brandon and I were talking about before we started. Cap was out of the room, and Brandon was like, "Oh, you match the background."
It's like you're red on red.
Oh, I see why he's saying that. Yeah.
And lean back and disappear into the wall.
Yeah, it's a very similar hue. It's like you're in a Walmart and you've got the two paint swatches right next to each other, Brandon.
I also mused that while Austin said that he's having no background today, the gray background that was the only thing that would come up behind him was actually less of a background than where he's sitting, which is actually telling us a story about his bedroom.
I'll read this comment real quick before we get started. Slasher Fred says, if you guys ever watched the first episode of Mega Ranger, which later was adapted to Power Rangers in Space, it pays homage to the Last Starfighter that involves an arcade game that's really a training program, like what happens here. And I did not, I have seen that, and I did not put that together. I wonder if that's intentional or not. I could see both things coming to that. But, I'm not saying that nobody in Japan has ever seen Last Starfighter, because, of course, that's a real Americanized culture at that point, but to some degree. But yeah, anyway, interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here, folks. Get ready to press play when I say now. Timestamp 0. I'm just about to do that. Here we go. Taking Austin through Last Starfighter for the first and possibly the last time. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. So like I said, this has a little bit in common I discovered watching War Games, because it's also about people who come to a kid who is good at some sort of electronics in order to try to save the world. But in this case, it's going to be aliens.
Didn't realize this was a Universal flick.
And I kind of forgot about that myself.
Yeah, at first I thought it was going to be the Orion logo, and then it was the Universal logo.
I love it when we get to watch Orion movies, because we get to go, Orion is bankrupt.
Well, I love when you see the Orion logo, because you immediately know it's going to be a quality film.
Exactly.
Oh my god, it's Superman, but in reverse.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're flying through red stars.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I never thought about it like that. Why is it going backwards?
Yeah. It's the same effect. It's just going back.
They accidentally
because if it was
reversed
going
the footage.
forward, it would be like,
See, this is regardless of this very hopeful sounding theme, it's gonna be a very cynical movie where we have to leave instead of going somewhere, Austin.
I want to see somebody do this with Star Wars, where it goes down, but it starts with the bottom of the text scroll.
I've always liked this theme quite a bit. We'll talk about the soundtrack a little bit. It's weird, like, it seems kind of generic, like cheesy sci-fi thing, and at the same time, it's memorable too. It's got that in common with Galaxy Quest, where like it's real clear what it's cribbing from, but it's also unique enough in its own way. We talked over Robert Fletcher's credit, who did the costume in this movie, and I interviewed him a couple years before he died. He was 94 when I talked to him, and I've talked about this on camera before, and of course we have that interview in the channel. It's about an hour long, and he did the costume work for the first 4 Star Trek movies, but this was, in his mind, one of his, as far as movies go, kind of crowning achievements, and
Nick Castle directed this movie?
What else has he done?
He's Michael Myers in the original Halloween.
Oh yes, you know what? And I did know that. I forgot all about that. Now
that's crazy.
And I don't know if he directed anything else, but yeah.
I didn't realize he directed anything. That's awesome.
But yeah, when I talked to Fletcher...
You should have interviewed the cinematographer, King Baggett, because that is quite the name.
When I talked to Robert Fletcher, I kept asking him questions about Star Trek movies and Klingons, and all he wanted to talk about was Last Starfighter. And about how much he loves Robert Preston, and how he was like the nicest man in the universe. And it was his last movie, I believe, Robert Preston.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that in the comments. Oh my god, Nick Cass also did Dennis the Menace? I'm learning so much.
Weird! Which is not a poorly directed movie. Like, it's not a great movie, but...
Yeah, I remember like a little bit as a kid, but I just remember thinking it was weird.
I know I've seen the Dennis the Menace movie, but I can't remember much.
Oh, I saw that way too many times when I was a kid.
Yeah,
there's some weird, mean-spirited stuff going on with that movie.
Like Home Alone, doesn't it?
Basically,
with like there's the two criminals that come in. They don't try to break into his house.
It's not criminals. It's one creepy homeless guy at the end, played by Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
Eating cold beans out of a can, like Rorschach.
Rorschach.
Exactly. Or I guess they're not cold because he's got a fire. But I was immediately thinking of Rorschach. He's real creepy in that. So you've got your typical kid in a tiny town in the middle of nowhere who just wants to get out and make something of himself. I don't know why we have TOS colors on this clothesline.
You know who's hiding in that clothesline?
Who's that?
Nick Castle. That's where he's directing from. You can see him just standing there.
I think and I won't talk about costumes this entire time, but it's hard not to think about it because I have talked to one person who worked on this movie. But it's weird that Robert Fletcher did a bunch of Star Trek movies, and then and I guess he would do one more after this. This comes out the same year as 4, so I don't know which one he was done with before the other one.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that he does a bunch of Star Trek and then goes to a thing that's a lot more akin to Star Wars, and I think he had more fun on it because he was allowed to go more alien with it. And,
well, I could see...
And you can tell he's wanting to do something like Star Wars in his Star Trek movies because he keeps kind of... cribbing from that and doing as many like alien things as he can.
I can see that being one of those things where you're like, oh, everybody asks me about Star Trek, but like I also really enjoyed this movie. Like I had a good time on it.
Yeah.
So, like wish people would talk to me about it, but they mainly want to talk about the bigger thing that I did.
I think it was more fun for him to make this movie.
Exactly.
So
it's kind of like with G.R.R. Martin, where like I hear you ask him about Game of Thrones and his eyes glaze over. You ask him about Wild
Cards is all he wants to talk about. That's right.
Yeah.
So I like what the video game looks like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really legitimate, and I wish they had made an arcade game. I don't think they did. Like with Tron, like based on this, that would be essentially that same game. I wish we had that. I don't think they made that. There is a decent NES game that's a space shooter and very difficult, but I actually have the cartridge, and my wife and I like it quite a bit.
How do you think they did these graphics for this?
I mean, just the same way they did Tron.
Yeah.
Like it's just early CG, and
yeah.
right around the same time, a couple years later. And it looks about as good as the graphics in Tron. It reminds me a lot of the Star Trek vector graphics game that came out in the early 80s. I can't remember if that's Strategic Command or whatever that was called, but it's kind of similar to that. Slasher Fred says he read that there's a Will Wheaton appearance in this movie. I don't remember him showing up in this, and that would have been just before TNG starts.
Okay, I was trying to think about how this would fit in between like TNG and like Stand By Me.
Yeah, so he'll look real young, but I don't know where he is. I don't remember ever seeing him in this. Oh no, this movie comes out in 84. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that Fletcher makes this 2 years before Star Trek 4, which is the last one that he works on. / Flash of Fred, are you referring to Defender? No, I'm talking about an actual Star Trek game. That's not a lot like Defender because it's head on. It's a first person perspective. Some really nice foreshadowing there too. And I don't want to give away everything about the movie because you've not seen it before. But the video game is a I mean, this is kind of the premise of the movie, but like it's an alien training program. We'll find out, and later on, when he has to actually shoot spaceships down, it's a really similar kind of view
like
that we'll get. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, cool.
And that actually reminds me a little bit of Ender's Game, which I want to say we referenced in War Games.
We did, yeah. No, there's definitely some Ender's Game in both of these. I'm not sure when that book comes out, but it's got to be after these.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of science fiction movies were looking at that, but not adapting it yet. And then we finally get an Ender's Game movie, and it's just okay. I liked it better than anybody else, I think, but...
Oh, really? I've never seen that. Remember when the main character in that was almost Spider-Man?
Yes. In fact, I remember doing a podcast where I reported that he was because all the outlets were saying he got the job, but then he didn't. Okay, really interesting.
Well, he talked about it like a few months ago where he was like, I thought I had the job, and then they announced one day that it was Tom Holland.
I think everybody did. Ender's Game, the book, comes out a year after this.
Oh.
So neither this or War Games could have been influenced by that book.
Is it influenced by this,
Something
then?
in the air.
I doubt it.
Well, I figured it came out after.
How long does it take to write a book, Brandon?
I don't know.
I mean, that comes out only a year after this. I doubt very seriously if he wrote that book in 6 months and got it published. There. Like, yeah.
And you never know. R.L. Stine exists.
Oh, you know what? We're a little bit away from it, but I think it is really important to note just how rare it is that we've got a movie with credits at the beginning of the film.
Look at that Starfield. Is that bizarre or what?
He totally missed it. I can't even get a rise out of you when I make fun of you anymore.
Well, training.
Brandon's just so used to it.
I played a video game that trained me how to defend against your...
You weren't defending, you were just ignoring.
That's a form of defense. You just ignore the attacker.
It had credits at the beginning of the film. It's
yes.
It's real rare, Brandon.
How rare it is.
I like this guy a lot. He's your kind of obligatory elderly black man who likes to scream when cool things happen.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that in 80s movies. You gotta have this guy that goes woo, and he'll do that.
Nice his voice from something, but that could just be me. I don't know. I like not Kevin Bacon driving his truck.
Another nice foreshadowing thing is the neon sign with the star, and that's intentional, and they'll hold on to it at the end. That'll be the last image that we get in the film, and obviously foreshadowing for and just a nice kind of symbolic thing where like he's playing this game because he has nowhere to go and he thinks he's just wasting his time and he's stuck in traction, right? And that neon, that image of the neon sign is the great beyond that he wishes that he could go explore, and that will actually happen for him, and he doesn't realize that he's actually working towards it right now. That's some kind of nice narrative stuff.
It's the eyes from the Great Gatsby.
Yeah, sure.
It represents.
Sure, I don't know if we should give it that much credit, but sure.
Those eyes always creeped me out.
Daniel Davis, the graphics really add to the film's charm. Yeah, I agree. And not horribly primitive for 1984. This is not a really expensive movie. I always thought of it as a glorified B-movie, and I don't know how fair that is.
Is this one of the movies they talk about in that? I assume it probably is, but that big like '80s documentary.
Yes,
sci-fi?
and it's out now. The physical isn't, but the digital is, and I have the digital code for it because I backed that movie, but I haven't. And then found out that they were going to give me a review copy. I didn't know that. I bought it, and then I got I got an email where they were like, "Do you want a review copy?" And I'm like, "I guess not, because I bought it." But anyway,
They emailed me a little earlier, guys.
I'm sitting, maybe they didn't. I just didn't remember or looked over it because I got a lot of information from them. But anyway, I got the digital copy for that, and I haven't watched it yet. But I want to watch that with you, Brandon.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
maybe
it's
we
probably
can
a really cool watch.
maybe we can talk about it on camera. We should give them another plug because they sponsored the channel for a bit.
So
didn't they do a horror one too? Didn't they do that and then they did the sci-fi
yes,
one? Yeah,
that's right.
I love how Otis yells at the trailer park that he's going for the record. Like everybody's played this game.
Yeah,
everybody wants to know.
Well, and you'd think when there's only one video game sitting there, like a lot more people would get really good at it.
Also, it's outside on the deck, and even though it's covered, it's exposed to all the elements.
That's a great point.
It's been there for a long time, and it looks pristine.
They need to, there needs to be like a portable shed that they have to put over it overnight.
Right.
Like,
it's the very least, if you're going to do a movie like this, it's got to be like this old game that's been around a while, because part of the thing is that it's been there for a while and nobody from Earth has ever beaten the score, right?
All these old people are so happy.
Well, there's nothing else going on in the town. For them, this is like a rock concert. I'm actually going to argue that the graphics look too good for a arcade game in 1984, and the Slasher Fred says this movie has some pre-CGI effects, and I don't know if he means in the actual action scenes later or specifically with that video game, but I'm pretty sure that's actually real digital rendered effects. Again, it looks like Tron, but then Tron's got some drawn animation too. We talked about that. Thomas Lowe, the movie is only available for streaming with rental. So you'd have to go to Amazon or iTunes. But if you decide to do that, I will give you a timestamp. Or somebody in the comments will do that for you. I remember liking this relationship with this girl okay. It's been a while since I've seen this. And certain bits of it are not sticking with me right now in the moment. Like, I don't know this movie super well. I've probably seen it 5 or 6 times through the course of my life.
I know, you give her a hat that's the same color of that sweater, and she'd be a really good gender-swapped man with the yellow hat.
Just watch the movie, Austin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll stop talking.
So he's just got this idea of grandeur that when he goes off to school, he's going to come back for her and just take her with him.
Right.
Just, like... So it seems all very one-sided.
Whenever you get close with a woman, never go in like...
Mags. There's the lingo of the day.
That kid reminds me of Corey Feldman in the 4th Friday the 13th.
Everything in the trailer park, see, I said small town, it's a trailer park, seems, authentic enough. It's maybe kind of a, Hollywood glorified version.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that the interiors of the trailers actually seem small. There's a lot of movies that'll make everything, kind of too opulent. Because the people making them have a lot of money. So they don't know what it's like or they don't remember what it's like to not have money. And you don't have that in this movie. But it's also not a super expensive movie, so that helps. A little bit of grit.
this is Nick Castle. He had to, in the original Halloween, like, help build a house to...
That's a good point, yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but, like, for the leaves in that movie, because where they went, they didn't have the kind of trees to get the leaves for it. They had to, like, bring them in bags and then, like, pour them out onto the street.
I think grassroots horror is a really good place to start to make any kind of movie.
Well, yeah, and from everything I've heard, Nick Castle's just that kind of a guy. Like, he was just like some dude.
Yeah, it's really weird that he got this project.
Wait,
yeah,
he dropped that letter before he ran out of the house, and then he's holding it while he came up the...
I didn't notice, I don't know.
Oh, shooting star, that was nice.
Well, I don't think that's a shooting star. I think that's the ship that's about to crash.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And this is where your horror roots are pretty clear, right? Where you have this kind of like ominous, creepy bit with the video game. Mm-hmm. Where, like, you know, it's not going to play for horror, but it gives you this kind of, you know, weird ominous sense. This is the stuff as a kid that really sticks with you. It's smart to not have any music in this bit. This is shot very much like the horror of the day.
Well, have you ever seen Starman, Cap?
Daniel Davis said Nick Castle actually made a movie before this. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
I've never seen Starman. I've always meant to.
When I didn't realize he directed anything. And you should watch Starman. It's awesome. But it just reminded me of that because that's also just a science fiction movie. But there's a part earlier on where Carpenter's kind of playing into some of his horror sensibilities.
So, it's really weird that they're pretty clearly basing this car on a DeLorean, and then a year later we'll just use a DeLorean in a science fiction film because it looks weird and futuristic. But are you with me? There's no way that we're not looking at a DeLorean with this car. Like, it's not just that the door opens the way it does. Like, it's the same color. It's angular. Like, it's a DeLorean.
I mean, to be fair, there are other angular cars of the day, like Lamborghinis and things like, and the Lotus and things like that.
Yeah, but it's not just that it's angular.
Closer.
It's
right,
that same shape.
It's a lot closer, exactly.
It's got like the same kind of back part.
Exactly. So yeah, he gave them some star power with this movie. Kind of the, you know, kind of the same way that we sold, you know, Superman on Jarrell. He's going to be the only name anybody recognizes going into this movie.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
One of the things that's really fun about this movie is that it kind of, I love that. It doesn't make any sense, but I love it.
Like, speeds past the sign
that a speed limit sign would be like bouncing like that. In a way, it kind of feels like he goes into a video game world, even though it's not the Tron thing, where he's going to be like, you know, roped into what feels like a different reality in just going to space, because the video game is, he's going very fast. Yeah, he's not going to have to worry about getting pulled over.
When he went past the cop car did the same thing that the just swayed in the wind.
That's great. But
they're on a mission.
The video game is based on this real alien culture that we're going to see, and with what little we see with that video game, it's really impressive how like similar in vibe it is, where it's almost like you drove into a vector graphics world that we have to realize with real actors and stuff.
Oh, so yeah, we did it.
Obviously, some of this does not look great.
No, it's very dated, but still, it reminds me of the back end of the Winnebago with wings too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is rough. This is like watching Babylon 5 or something. Look, he's got to go into space because there's big trouble in River City planet.
Big Trouble in Little Space.
Exactly. It wasn't a fully formed joke.
Well, you more made the Music Man reference than anything.
Precisely. This is very important. Oh, I remember this being really weird when I was a kid. It's like, what's happening?
Oh
I
my
like that
god.
dashboard.
Cad Bane.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He does look like Cad Bane. It's like they're making Star Wars things before even Star Wars has made said Star Wars things.
He's a better live action Cad Bane than the actual live action Cad Bane.
He's Cad Bane. That's
Look,
a
it's got
Cad
a
Bane.
digital
Now
readout
he's
on its.
flying
That's,
through the titles.
that's ahead
They're
of its
they're gonna
time
have to
for
dodge the names.
center consoles.
Well, that's how it knows what year to go to, Brandon.
Well, okay, that's funny. But I just mean, like, as far as modern center consoles, it's got a whole digital screen readout thing.
Well, it's supposed to be a spaceship.
Yeah. But spaceships didn't even have that at that time.
I like how they have a license. Oh yeah, of course they have a license plate. What am I talking about? It was a car first. But it was like an alien thing, so it is nice they still put a license plate on it. I guess I don't know. I'm gonna
What's the
watch.
license
Are you gonna
plate
double?
say?
Are you gonna double down on it? The
Yeah.
space effects in this movie remind me of documentaries that I had to watch in school that were trying to explain like what the surface of other planets is like. Where it's like,
Yeah.
and here's our best guess at what it's like to go to Mercury. It's like that.
It reminds me a little bit of Reboot, too.
Well, sure.
But also
It looks about as good as Reboot.
80s music.
And that's 10 years
80s
after
music videos, too.
Yeah, they're flying into the ship from I'm Blue.
But there's definitely movies of this era that look way better than this.
Sure. Well, like I said, it's not the biggest budget in the world.
Right.
Yeah, remember when we made genre films that weren't like
I want to know where this car is
$8
today.
billion.
$300 million
budgets.
every single time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas Lowe, he's not really live action Cad Bane, it's CG.
You got me there. Oh my god.
Oh, and speaking of Babylon 5,
She
She looks-
kind of my great grandfather.
she looks a lot like a whole species in Babylon 5.
Do they talk like that too?
No.
Oh.
It's a very bald-headed woman. Alien female.
I don't know why, but I was thinking of that. You know the song "Evil Woman." When
Yeah.
you said "bald-headed woman," I had like that replaced. It was like "bald-headed woman."
That's funny.
See, I was just imagining a movie called Single Alien Female. When I was a kid, I thought evil woman, because it sounds like there should be an extra syllable in it. I thought it was medieval woman.
Oh, that's awesome.
And for years, I thought it was medieval woman. I was, like, totally floored when I found out that wasn't what the song was called.
That's great.
That was a weird kind of choice for angle. When he's on that treadmill and he's coming at you, and then you just get a face full of shirt pocket. So I'm forgetting. I guess Centauri, which is, by the way, a great name for an alien guy and a thing like this. Just take the name of a planet we have and just give it to a character. Like, that's fun. Or part of the name of a planet. But anyway, I guess he's a different species and then all these people actually look like humans, but just have like partially shaved heads or partially bald heads.
Well, I wondered if he.
But he
was
knows how to
that
speak their
because
language.
He also has a hat, so you can't see if he's bald.
Well, no, you saw his actual face.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like maybe the other people have that too. Like he like pulled it off.
No, I'm assuming not though, because otherwise, why are they disguised?
Because budget.
Okay.
I'm sure they come out somewhere and say that, and I just don't remember anymore that he's from another species. Like I said, I don't know this movie super well.
Which Pippi Longstocking.
This isn't. We're intentionally doing blind commentaries for this Mania. I'm not actually allowed to watch anything ahead of time so that I can freak out like a crazy person when we watch the weird stuff later. Austin's making me do it this way. So if you think this show sucks, it's Austin's fault. We did the other Manias like this, but the difference is I'd seen most of those movies and knew them better because they were superhero things.
You didn't see the TV Man-Thing movie before.
No, I didn't, and I didn't want to post that video because I thought it came out awful because there was nothing to talk about. And then several commenters were like, "This was a really fun commentary," and I was like,
"Oh
I'm
my
really
god!"
Glad. Yeah, that's horrifying.
Oh, that is absolutely. I forgot about that.
Yep.
It's like
That's a
Hellraiser,
stand-in.
but G-rated.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a whole subplot about Alex's stand-in on Earth, and that will get kind of padded, and that's where things go a little south for me later on. It's kind of just wasting time and being weird to be weird.
This reminds me of the Room in War games a little bit.
Oh, of course.
They
Yeah.
play the war games. So like a Mission Control, of course.
Yep. Daniel Davis blamed it on the Austin. Why do you think I have him in so many videos? Like, you
like
really
that I have
need
love for it.
that, like, low-hanging fruit. I've never had people on videos for that reason before.
Oh, that's rough, Cap. That's rough. So presumably, isn't the idea that these games were on other planets around?
Yes.
But these are all the same alien. He's the only alien to them here, right? Am I
He's the only
mistaken?
one who was that good at the game.
So, again, it's been a while since I've seen this. I think, if memory serves, the idea is their resources are depleted, and, like, they're supposed to be the rebellion in Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
And, like, the big bad guy is winning, like, really hard. So this kid is the last Starfighter because they ran out of all the other Starfighters.
Okay.
So Brandon,
really
it's not
fun.
a mistake. It's that, like, they have the people on this planet.
Oh, there's some other aliens.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, so they have a few, but not very many left.
Right.
And, yeah. I guess he's not the last Starfighter yet.
Oh, this title lied to us.
That's a good.
Wasn't
good
it
logo.
that it was the last game that was still out there and like nobody ever expected anyone from Earth to make it?
Yeah, we were talking over everything Centauri was saying, so I forget. But so this guy is
My
great.
favorite part about Video Game Mania is the Squid Man going.
That's the guy in the Mos Eisley spaceport that Luke chops off his arm later.
Sure.
Oh yeah, this guy.
But yeah, he's going to have a pilot later who's really super likable and has a really sad speech about his backstory, and everybody loves that guy. So this scene is just right out of the original Star Wars. Except it's not until the third act because that's about the Death Star. So see, we're doing the Death Star scene
White guy being like,
right now.
"I gotta do this."
He reminds me of
Yeah,
Admiral Akbar.
exactly.
And I don't even think that guy comes back in the sequels. Like in 5 and 6.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But Brandon, like, there's an old guy that actually, like, has a speech like this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because they both came out at the same time and they were genre films aimed somewhat at children. But I also sometimes get some Neverending Story vibes from this movie. Particularly with just like the cadence of some of the speech. And maybe some of that's just the way it's mic'd and stuff, because it's that period.
Yeah, it could be. I've still never seen that.
I wish that had a video game something in it so I can make you watch that movie.
But no, we should just make me watch it. You can just be like, we're doing that now.
I could just pick it on an off week. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I just saw one of the props they use in TNG.
I refuse to watch it though.
The most important device in the universe.
Yes. I forgot that was in the scene, but that's brought up by Red Letter Media in one of the Plinkett videos.
Oh yeah.
He does look kind of like a Suliban.
Yeah.
He also looks like a chocolate person like you get at Easter.
A chocolate lizard.
Yeah, he's like a chocolate lizard.
So do you think if you stabbed him, you'd find out that he was hollow inside?
Oh,
yeah, and then it'd be really annoying because you could hear bits of chocolate bumping around in his legs, but you couldn't pull it out unless you ate to that point.
He's filled with a chocolatey nougat. Okay.
Okay.
That's why nobody wants to eat him.
Wait, so he's a walking, talking Cadbury man?
Armadillo, anthropomorphized armadillo man.
Cadbury man, armadillo, the Cadbury armadillo.
He's like a chocolate version of the Thing that they put out for the Roger Corman movie.
See, there it is. Okay, it's right there. There's the most important device in the universe.
So Plinkett was super perplexed by this. He was like, how did that wind up in a Star Trek episode?
Over Star Trek.
Because it shows up everywhere, and it can't be a coincidence because it's exactly that prop.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got that prop. This is a Universal thing, and that was a TV show, not made by. I don't know how that happened. And this was 3 years before TNG, but it's in the first season, I think. And then it shows up in other episodes after that, and
it shows up in so many other properties across the board of studios.
Fleischer snuck it out with him when he left.
It's weird. I didn't know it was in anything other than Star Trek and this. Those are the only two things I've ever heard anybody talk about with it. But
there's a whole video that shows all the different places.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's called the most important device in the universe.
Okay.
That's how I knew to call it that.
Okay.
And yeah, it shows up all over the place.
See, I was gonna say this guy's race should be called, when we were talking about him being hollow, should be called the Pinatas. But now I think his race should be called the Cadbarians.
I can dig it. That's pretty good.
Oh, now he's giving that exposition, Brandon. I got a high score. And I should say that the game that they're thinking of course, that people watching this movie have in the back of their minds is Galaga. So you'll go to the arcade after this, and that's huge right now. Galaga started in, 82? I forget. Now I'm questioning all my years because I got this one wrong.
Oh, look, it's MCP. Master Control Program.
Yeah, so the villain in this is named Zur, and then when we get to Toy Story, we just put a G on it.
He reminds me.
There is no bald, only Zur.
Yeah, and he looks a lot like, and that's weird because Ghostbusters comes out the same year this movie comes out, but then Ghostbusters 2 has a villain in the painting that looks like this guy.
No, he doesn't. Vigo?
I think Vigo looks a lot like this guy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't see it.
Yeah, the eyes and everything? Yeah. It always reminded me of that.
Of who?
Since I was a kid. Of the villain from Ghostbusters 2. You just gotta pay attention, Brandon.
Sorry, I was... Folks, he's reminding me of somebody else too, but not that.
Like a guy. It's so weird.
You just can't see it because this guy's bald.
That is true. Vigo has his magnificent hair.
You got to have your classic sci-fi torture scene. We don't do enough of these kinds of scenes anymore.
Melting his skull.
You got to show us what the stakes really are, and you got to make your bad guy menacing in the first 10 seconds. These guys get the formula of these kinds of movies. They're doing a real good job of plugging in for that effectively, I think. Like, this is a backhanded compliment. Like,
I mean, hey, it's a step above The Last Jedi. He's not only threatening other villains and, like, mopping the floor with them, so...
I don't know. That's real efficient. Like, establishes everything you need to know. This is the bad guy. Oh, and he's also like the Emperor because we introduce him. Well, partly because, you know, like they're both like evil, you know, totalitarian dictators that are trying to take over the galaxy. But also, we're first introduced to him as a hologram, his big head.
He's not a woman in this one, though.
What?
Like in Star Wars. Well, because the original Emperor is like a woman that they made up.
Oh, okay. But it doesn't matter, because it was just it was a head. Right?
Yeah.
Like, when we're first introduced to him, isn't it just a big floating head?
Yeah, but yeah, it was like a woman that played the Emperor in Empire.
Okay, so Brandon, I'm gonna ask you the $100,000 question here.
Yes.
Which is, why in the world is this not model work?
I don't
know.
Like,
was it somehow cheaper to do it like this?
It could not have been. They just probably wanted to use the what little budget they had on the latest and greatest. I don't know. They thought they could do better.
They should have at least mixed and matched. Like, there's no model stuff in this that I'm noticing anyway.
But that setup there reminded me of the arrays on the edge of the neutral zone in Star Trek TNG.
Thomas O says this is a Zordon head. Yeah, if Zordon was evil, that's what Zordon would look like.
It's reminding me of something.
I'm not bullying Brandon,
and I cannot remember what it's reminding me of. What he reminds me of.
I don't know, but he looks like he got a trophy for like evil golfing or something.
Participation in evil.
Right.
He also looks like he has a giant tumor sticking out of his forehead.
Oh, and Brandon, that's another thing that Plinkett mentioned in one of the Star Trek videos.
Yeah.
That these guys have, and you haven't seen a lot of DS9, so I don't know if you'll know about this, but they have the Jem'Hadar like eyepieces.
Oh yeah.
That they have at the end of the Dominion War, where they don't have view screens; they have to look through a single eyepiece, and then all the information is displayed in the eyepiece. Sure. And these guys also look a little bit like Jem'Hadar too.
They kind of do.
I've always loved this prop that I was calling an evil golf trophy. And it looks like... well, I was going to say it looks like you could murder people with it. I think he stabbed somebody with it.
Yeah, like, popped out like a knife. I assume he's going to stab this guy because he's playing with the, like, tiger version of the Virtual Boy. It's like
oh, the R-Zone.
The R-Zone.
It does look like the R-Zone. Yes. Tom puts in a $2 super chat and references the big giant head. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Incoming message from the big giant head. He's talking about Third Rock from the Sun, and we have references to the... So, Third Rock from the Sun, for folks that aren't aware, do you know what that is?
I've just never seen it.
Is a sitcom from the 90s about... aliens masquerading as humans, living on Earth in apartments and having your kind of standard fish out of water kind of comedy. And the leader on the planet is a unseen guy called the Big Giant Head. And occasionally we get references to him, and he'll like send signals and give them instructions. And it's the Big Giant Head. And then when we finally introduce him, he's played by William Shatner, and he's wonderful. It's really funny. But I don't think we get him until like 2 or 3 seasons in. I haven't seen that show in a lot of years.
That's awesome. Always gotta love Shatner.
So I'm hearing more Indiana Jones in the score than I am Star Wars. Are you having that?
I wasn't really thinking about it, but now that you've said it, I can listen out for it.
Just in my headset right now, so much dun 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 dun, just constantly, and I'm like, oh, that's Indiana Jones, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe because that part's not Superman, but the Indiana Jones and Superman themes are close.
They do get close. That's true. And obviously we're going to look at John Williams because of Star Wars, but they're not just influenced by Star Wars. There's also obviously Superman here too, and both of those things were John Williams. And I'm sure they went to John Williams because of the other thing. I'm hesitating in saying that because those were only a year apart. It's weird because Superman feels like there's so much kind of Star Wars in the background of it, but it only comes out a year after Star Wars does.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the...
It says Rylos, Brandon.
It does. Oh, it's a thermal exhaust port, but it's not 5 meters wide.
But Star Wars changed everything. Even James Bond had to do Star Wars after that came out.
That's right.
That's one of my favorite producer interviews is for Moonraker, where he's like, yeah, Star Wars is science fiction. Moonraker is science fact. It's like...
Well, you just fundamentally don't understand what science fiction means, and also... No.
Yeah, that movie literally steals the trench run from Star Wars, where James Bond's in a space shuttle and he's flying through the trench.
He reduces me to poverty again. That's a great line.
Oh my god, he's got a Tamagotchi.
So the script is trying maybe a little bit too hard with some of the technobabble. And that's hard to do, right, to separate yourself out without sounding like really goofy. And I don't know, everybody's got a different line they draw with how silly like sci-fi terminology and alien terminology and this kind of stuff can sound. We had communocrystals, like you're in Power Rangers territory at that point.
They also just did something that...
Sorry, go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
They also just did something that Star Trek does a lot, where they give a couple of regular Earth references in the time frame, and then give an alien reference that you're supposed to relate them as the same kind of thing.
Sure.
He goes, did Columbus stay home? No. And then he goes, did Galuka do whatever? And you're just like, what? It's like, oh, it's supposed to be referential, like akin to that.
But the problem with it is
reptilian.
The problem with it is, you just introduced a kid from Earth to the rest of the universe, so why make that reference? He's not gonna get it. Like,
right.
Yeah, for Technobabble, all you gotta do is go, we gotta fly through
Can we get another take of that?
No.
Could we please get another take of that? It looked like this. Brandon, hold still. It was like if I went like this, and then we tried to pass it off as I really hit Brandon. Like, it looked really bad.
It did look really bad.
That was maybe one of the worst screen slaps in the history of cinema.
So he's smiling just after he got unknowingly, like...
He's happy to be home and see his family.
I don't know why.
But that's because you hate everyone as a matter of principle.
So he molted.
Hey, you look like me.
A simuloid.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, trying a little too hard.
They're just coming up with babble words that sound vaguely.
I like Star Car though. I'll give them Star Car. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I was reading I looked up where that Star Car might be today, and as late as 2011, it's rumored to be in France and painted red.
Okay. Tom, so you really wanted to hit Brandon. I wasn't anywhere near him. That was the point. If Austin had been here, I would have
made it look better than the Last Starfighter.
I guess.
So.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's forced perspective, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
AMC Comics Cap's hate of Brandon is finally reaching the point of physical violence.
Yeah.
Okay, he put hate in quotes. Physical should have also been in quotes.
No, I don't know. From my angle, like everything slowed down and it was like very visceral, and I could hear like the dun 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 dun.
Cap
the
versus
Batman.
Brandon, the one night event.
You were beating them up.
That was hilarious. I'm just coming after Brandon like the Batman. Dun 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 dun. It's
I
so
was
okay.
really scared.
It's gonna get weird now, you guys. It's about to get really freaking weird.
Oh my god, is this the Wolfman guy? Oh, never mind. Whoa.
I warned
He
you.
was the Wolfman guy from Big Trouble in Little China, but then he ended up looking even weirder.
What's his name from the Goonies?
Yeah.
Sloth. He's like if that Wolfman guy and Sloth had a baby.
Yeah, we do a
And then
lot
they
of
tried to
monsters
kill the
kind of
baby.
similar to this in mid-'80s movies, particularly about kids. I don't know why.
This kid's a little too grown up. He's got Playboys. He swears.
I'm with you. I don't buy a kid
Like,
that age giving a
that's
crap
all
about
like 80s
Playboys.
kids.
Yeah.
Almost any of them. Unless it's just like, you know, I got these because it's edgy and I don't understand it, and girls' cooties, I don't care, but this is what, you know, like, kids are supposed to want to smoke and drink and look at nude magazines, right? But, like, I don't buy that he has it because he wants
like
to look at them.
6.
He's like 7 or 8 or whatever.
See, he just reminds me of Corey Feldman in Friday the 13th Part 4. Because he's like that kind of kid, and he's just Tom Savini. Like he's got all these monster masks that he has, and he like watches women change and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just 80s kids. It was just like that
Just
was what we
80s
did.
kids.
Yeah, 80s kids are a bunch of weird perverts.
So this is all real silly B horror stuff, but the sense of suspense leading up to that bit was good.
Yes.
There's some nice moments of atmosphere.
Yeah, you know what it could have used though before he grabbed him.
Dun 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 dun.
John Carpenter could have played it. It would have been awesome.
It's incredible that in 2022, Austin, you can still do a 4-note melody that grabs everybody that at least sounds new. Isn't that crazy?
Well, that's what I love about the Batman score is that it's so familiar but so new at the same time.
Yeah.
Where, like you hear it and you go, "Well, that's Batman."
You can
like it's
and you can break down a lot of the influences if you're really looking for it, but it all sounds of a piece.
yeah, exactly.
And it's deceptively simple.
yeah, I mean, yeah, the main theme is just dun 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 dun. But I mean, I can't complain. Like John Carpenter is one of my favorite composers, and all of his scores are very simple.
You know what? I'm going to give them the laser effects in this. That looks nice.
Yeah, no, they look pretty good.
Oh.
By the way, this is a really pretty transfer. I'm assuming this got digitally remastered at some point, but my an original DVD didn't look this good. So for the 25th anniversary, they must have cleaned it up. I don't think
You can bet your ass.
I don't think I've actually seen this copy. I'm not sure though. When I watched it with Brandon before, I don't know if I got this open or if I owned it yet, or if I got because upstairs when I grabbed it, and but it wasn't in the shrink wrap, so I either opened it and put it on the shelf or we watched it once. I'm not sure. But I'm notorious for buying movies, putting them on the shelf, and leaving them in the shrink wrap.
Yeah, I know I have that too.
Do you really?
Yeah.
My wife and I have a movie that we've intentionally never watched because it's hilarious how long it's been in shrink wrap. Sarah got it from a mail order thing. She used to be on one of those like monthly DVD mail order clubs, right? And when we were in college, she got a copy of The Pianist. And I don't know why she bought that movie. I don't know if it was like, you know, the one that month they send you and she forgot to not ask, or if she actually wanted that movie. I don't know. She's never seen it. It's still in the shrink wrap, and that was.
That was like the big Oscar movie that year.
2003, 2004, she got that?
I'm
So
thinking
we've
of something
had
else.
that in the shrink wrap for almost 20 years. We've still never opened it. And if we finally watch that movie, I don't know if just to commemorate the weirdness of that, I want to actually get out of the shrink wrap, or if we should stream it and keep it in the shrink wrap.
You should rent it. You should pass that on from generation to generation, never opening it.
So nobody's investigating the foul stench. Nobody investigated the laser blasts.
You're right. I'm
Big
sorry.
noises.
Brandon still wants to talk about this movie, which we should be doing. Yeah.
Centauri, so he gets shot, right? But at this point in the movie, I'm not as invested in the character as the character is invested, as the guy playing the character is invested in this character.
Is it just because you think he's been off screen for too long?
No,
or-
it's just that I wanted to connect with this character and be like, oh, this is the mentor guy. He's kind of like, he's somebody to be, liked, but I just never got behind him all the way.
No, it's
Okay.
like if Dick Tracy was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, and in fact, he is just straight up Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like that's the mode we're in, because he's dying at about the same point in the movie, right? Like,
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't drive a DeLorean, so he's not as cool as this guy.
oh, okay. So basically, you're saying what you're telling me is we can't get invested enough in a character, in a mentor character like this, if he doesn't die in a sword fight. It can't be a firefight. It has to be a sword fight.
No, I'm saying this guy's cooler than Obi-Wan.
He's going the other way. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obi-Wan lives in a desert in like a little shack.
Okay, but he did drive a speeder.
That's true, but it wasn't a DeLorean that can fly. He had to pay somebody to fly him. And Obi-Wan was friends with a chocolate thing.
Watch this scene, because his death here is pretty great. This is the one moment he's really looking his age, too.
Mm.
The flute melody here is real Sylvester-y.
Hmm. So this is the part I was referring to earlier.
I just wanted to make sure
parts.
that you didn't miss this moment.
He just kind of just... He just like spaced out permanently on camera, right? So that's kind of a whole scene and a whole thing. And then the second part of that comes later just cracks me up.
Oh my god.
So Brandon, instead of the Federation or the Rebellion,
Yeah.
we have the Frontier.
Right.
In a movie called The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
So it's the final frontier.
Exactly.
The last Starfighter has to protect the final frontier.
Oh my god. And they have to
And now we gotta
protect
cut back to
the-
this. Like, at the point where he goes back in space, I do not care what's happening on Earth. That's
I don't
that's
either,
the big
especially
problem
since-
with this movie.
Especially since the Beta unit ruined his relationship somehow.
Yeah, like now it just becomes that real easy kind of forced drama, and it's almost sitcom-y.
Mm-hmm.
Roy, I think he and the girlfriend have a decent enough chemistry when they're on screen together, but like so many things, she gets kind of thrown under the bus, and then we have to keep cutting back to just to do weird stuff. Brandon, that's exactly the Data Head thing.
Yes, it is. Exactly.
It's just like the Data Head in, well, we do that a couple times, don't we? Where he when we take his head off. But
This reminds me of Evil
Time
Dead
Zero.
2.
I like to see how they made that that practical desk.
That's also the palest child in the world.
Yeah.
They should let their kid go outside.
Dale Davis, Robert Preston was a great actor, got this scene. Yeah, but that that stare at the death is pretty funny. It's pretty
Well,
funny.
I was thinking, though, like, when he was talking right before he died, he sounded like Uncle Ben in the first Raimi
That was
movie,
hilarious.
and then he just went... It was great.
He just did the whole head shaking thing, but since his head's on the table, the hand just comes around, holds the nose, and the head moves the head back and forth. That was...
This guy really commits
Mm-hmm.
and elevates the material a lot. I think he's kind of the unsung hero of this movie. Or maybe sung. I mean, everybody likes this character.
They look like they're in a Godzilla movie now. Specifically Invasion of Astro Monster.
Okay, Brandon, what one-shot character from TNG does this guy remind you of in the face?
I've been trying to come up with that answer for a while.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready? It's Dathan.
Yeah.
He looks like
Yeah,
Dathan.
Dathan. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
I
From
also
Darmok.
think he looks
Shaka,
like
when the walls fell.
Right.
Or Krylon, when the frontier happened.
Timber, his arms wide.
Exactly.
You don't have to know what we're talking about, but you need to watch more TNG.
Several of these aliens are reminding me of things, and the main bad guys with their silver things, they're reminding me of something extremely specific, and it's gonna bug
Check
me
out the overlay.
They
until I
remind me
figure it out.
of,
Oh yeah,
It's exactly the game. Like they really thought that out. Like what all that stuff actually is for, at least to some degree.
Yeah, Brandon, those aliens remind me of Lobot from Empire Strikes Back, where he's got like the
Yes.
machinery
Yeah.
thing.
okay,
Yeah.
sure. But there's also somebody with the pointy nose, like they have, like a really pointy nose, and they stand and they're austere. That's all I can remember.
So we're really mixing a lot of things here.
Metaphors?
We've got photon bursts, and we've got
Death Blossom.
proton something. Yeah. The Death Blossom is the big thing from when I was a kid. I always remembered about this. Something about that panel with the lines.
Just the red and white lines.
Yeah,
It's
just
like
that was a line reading. But what you really mean
you.
is death. Yeah, so now he's the last Starfighter.
The way he yells.
So everybody you saw at the beginning of the movie is dead now.
Oh, okay.
They're all dead.
The way he yelled in Another Dimension sounded like it came out of the Time Warp from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I saw that in a movie once. It worked in Star Wars. Except this kid doesn't have the Force or anything. He's just really good at Galaga.
Chocolate, man, you can't just walk into a battle and kill everyone.
You might want to. Oh man, that was a.
There are no
bad
Cadbarians
line.
left.
That was a bad line.
You can't just walk into a store and buy a Cadbury.
Well, I was going to say, there's a lot of Marty McFly in this character. Again, a year before that comes out.
It's very like just kind of the 80s kid, right?
That's fair. But don't you think that that's the sort of actor they were looking for? Like, if they could have gotten him, that's who they would have cast?
Yeah, it would be like
Potentially.
him or Matthew Broderick.
Sure.
A million miles from nowhere. You're a bit further than a
Which
million
is funny
miles.
because Matthew Broderick was in the remake of Music Man,
Yes.
playing the same character
Harold
that Preston
Hill.
played. Yeah, he's not great. Like, he does his best, but I didn't think he was right for it. Yeah, that hurt my feelings. I think my wife got that
movies
DVD
like
around the
that
same
that
time as she
Matthew
got The
Broderick
Pianist and
cast.
didn't open it.
There's like a few big movies of Broderick's career that I think he's like really miscast in.
Someone I don't recognize in the comments says, "What's happening? I'm seeing 3 silent guys." Turn on a speaker, because people can hear us. I'm pretty sure we're broadcasting okay.
Some commenter comes in, oh, like nobody's talking. Cap goes, we should start listening.
Just pay attention. Anyway, welcome. Hopefully you can hear us. Let us know if you need a timestamp to watch this movie along with us. Alien is a name I don't recognize. Hi there. $5 super chat. How do we feel about a remake, reboot, sequel? There were rumblings, I thought, about a sequel to this. Or maybe I just, because that happens with everything, I'm lumping this in and assuming that's a thing. But I thought that was supposed to happen. And that we got word of that around when we reviewed this before. But yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, like, the easy answer is decades later sequels are almost always terrible. So, like, it's easy to say you probably could tell an okay story going back to this, but would we do it right and for the right reasons? I don't know.
March 26, 2021. Long-awaited Last Starfighter sequel. Very, very close and has a sizzle reel.
Yeah, and we've heard nothing in a while, so I don't know.
Yeah. In a year.
Brandon, what do you think? Is this a thing that you reboot or that you do a sequel to decades later?
Oh goodness, I feel like you have to reboot it. You've got to get so I know this holds a place for a lot of people in their childhood, but as we kind of touched on yesterday and after, this wouldn't be ruining your childhood if you rebooted this.
Right.
I think that this is actually not a bad candidate because they could do a lot with this story and with special effects today.
But you could also still do the same thing with a sequel that takes place in the same universe, right?
That's
like,
true,
why would it have to be a reboot?
I think I'd rather see a reboot.
I'm leaning towards sequel.
Really?
With this particular material, yeah. Keep it in the continuity. It would be about mostly new characters, probably. But, like, keep it period. Like, go back to the 80s. Instead of making it a present-day thing. My problem with the reboot idea is I just don't know how much I care about seeing this concept done in 2022. You see what I'm saying? Like, what is the equivalent of that? It's like, oh, there's a game streamer on Twitch who's like really good at Fortnite or something.
He's so good at Pokemon Go.
He can find all of them.
I see what you're saying. I see the problematic areas in what you're talking about because this type of the setup
it's
for
such
this
an
doesn't
80s
exist
concept. I don't
anymore.
I don't need it. Yeah. I don't need it updated. When you say, "Oh, you can do it with better effects and stuff," well, sure, but you can still do that and keep it period. Yeah. And I just think it's better as a period.
Oh, look, it's the Abrams Enterprise.
So apparently,
that's great.
In 2008, both Seth Rogen and Steven Spielberg talked about wanting to make a sequel to this movie.
Interesting.
That would have been crazy if Steven Spielberg directed a sequel to this.
That is some 80s CG.
And Brandon, even if you did it period, like I'm talking about, I wouldn't want to see it rebooted where you just go, let's tell the same story, but like make the effects look better. Like, don't do that. I mean, I would want a different story, like whichever way you went. I think.
Well, could you reboot it similar to how Jumanji rebooted? Like, it was a different story, but...
soft reboot.
Yeah, soft reboot, about. Yeah.
Well, any decades later sequel is by definition a soft reboot.
True enough. Would you like to see a cameo?
They're always done that way. Where it's like, because they're always trying to start a new franchise, right? So you try to bring in new people that don't know this material or don't care, and then kickstart a new franchise. So yes, if you kept it in the same continuity, it's still a reboot of sorts.
Do you think Marty McFly in the sequel to this movie would die because he's too tired?
And there'd be that moment where he can't get his gun to work, so he just hits his forehead into it, and then it starts shooting.
Yeah, and then he eats the chocolate man.
You still may. Like, not guaranteed, Alex.
But the reason you'd want to do more of this is just to build on the lore, I would think. In fact, I think I just thought of this. The smarter direction to go with a thing like this is not movie reboot or sequel, it's miniseries.
Video game.
A video game's good too, yeah. But this seems right for like a Disney Plus or HBO Max kind of show.
Yeah.
This is the kind of truck ride where the truck flips, somebody dies, and they write a ballad about it later.
This was the basis for Last Kiss.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was thinking, actually.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon and his truck's been drinking. They're gonna go over a cliff.
So now we got to watch her deal with the robot and mess up her relationship, and you know how this is gonna end. He's just gonna come back and fix it all. Like, who cares?
Yeah, they should have just gone crazy. Like, they already have not Kevin Bacon. Just have Tremors show up. Just come back to that. It's like,
it does kind of feel like that setting, yeah.
Is she in anything else like major in the time frame?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jinkies.
Well, I can't get laughing right. It's a problem with androids and sentient beta models.
Yeah, exactly.
What was he called? A freakazoid? No.
Yeah, he's a freakazoid.
Whoa! There's a new effect. They're adding new effects this late in the game.
No, they've been doing that.
That one?
Yeah.
He grabbed him and turned into God. It's crazy. Oh, apparently she was the love interest of Weekend at Bernie's.
That's hilarious. Yes, when I was a child, we grew up in a tin can. With my wife-oid. This is all
goodness.
very unfortunate.
Wow, these are selfies in the
I
80s.
to be a baseball.
Although I dig that digital picture frame. It's just a real thin piece of glass.
He should have pulled out like a futuristic photo album and just like flipped through it.
Like the space photo album.
He put his wallet in his Starfighter outfit. Like, he didn't put it in the locker back at base.
He kept it with him.
Yeah.
In case somebody asked for ID.
Yeah, international ID, interdimensional ID check.
Hey, you know how you're blending in with your background tonight with your red shirt with the red wall? This guy in the picture had the same thing, where they're like rock-looking people in front of rocks.
He was in the land of chocolate. I love when he gets to the end of that and there's the chocolate shop and he's like, chocolate, half off.
So this is Star Wars if you didn't have the Jedi component at all, right? It's like, let's make it all about the X-Wing side.
Yeah, definitely.
He's just a pilot. It kind of simplifies the whole thing, but it also takes any mysticism out of it. So
it's Star Wars and Top Gun.
That's great. Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's why, in a way, it's a little more Star Trek-ish than it is Star Wars. Like, in the tone of it is more Star Wars, but in premise and execution, it's kind of more Star Trek, because it's more of a straight-up science fiction piece. Like, this isn't the science fantasy thing that Star Wars is.
So these explosions remind me of, like, filmed firecrackers exploding, and it's really weird as a juxtaposition of, like, the real explosion there in front of this really 80s CGI.
Yeah, it looks like they're not even in the same plane of existence.
Yeah.
Like, there's almost like a layer to it.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can kind of tell they slapped, like, an effect over, like, the digital effect.
Yeah. It's really weird watching this again, how Yeah, and like some of this does read a little generic with the Lawrence stuff. Somehow, way less so than the original Battlestar Galactica. When you put these next to each other, somehow this doesn't feel as much of a like.
That's what I was gonna say.
of a straight up ripoff.
Feldman.
What the heck kind of gun is that? Why does he look like an SS officer?
Thinking Cats, I haven't read the comic adaptation of this, but I've sold it on eBay a couple of times. I never actually flipped through it. And then that person says, there's also an argument that The Matrix blatantly ripped off this movie. You look at the beats, it's the same movie. I think you can also say that about some other things, but I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, it's true.
They're way too close to that giant fire. That would be so hot.
You don't have to worry about that guy, though. He's a freakazoid.
Yeah. Probably made of gasoline, though. He'd probably explode.
So it is so forced. All the stuff they've been talking about that are like the when she says sexual advances and when when the kids looking at the Playboys, all that is so forced and shoehorned. I don't understand why that's part of this movie.
Because they're trying to appeal to a teenage audience.
But is that what they thought of teens in the 80s? Like, I feel like other things did that way better. Of course, not everything's going to be a hit, but like,
it also doesn't help that we keep cutting to a subplot that's really pointless. And you know how I said that this is Star Wars without the Jedi stuff? They replaced the Jedi stuff with the sitcom nonsense. And that's the problem. That's what makes this movie really uneven to me.
It's like suddenly we're at a sister-in-law's wedding. It's really weird.
Yeah, but that's way worse.
Oh, yeah.
And the A story's not as good as this. He's talking about Sonic 2 right now.
See, he's an
which I liked better than you did, but I still agree with you on that.
Oh, he shot him right in the crotch. Oh,
no, right in the center.
Oh, he's bleeding out predator blood.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
they showed that earlier, where he bleeds green.
How convenient!
Oh, I missed that.
How convenient that he should reveal that he's a thing right before she gets proof of it. Like,
I'm just gonna steal Kevin Bacon's truck.
I guess I do have to say, at least they don't stretch that out anyway. I totally forgot that she actually finds out he's an android before the real Alex comes back. That didn't stick with me. Because I always hate interrupting the action for that subplot. I mean, the problem is you build these giant stakes, you go, all the other Starfighters are dead, you make us really like Grig, and then we have to keep interrupting the action.
It would be like if Luke's aunt and uncle didn't die in the original Star Wars. And
yeah.
we come back to them and they're like, "Oh, we've got no more blue milk. We gotta go out and get some."
That's great. You know what else I hadn't thought of before, Brandon?
What's that?
Although I bet if you go back and watch the video we made of this, I probably make this point there.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm having a new realization in the moment. When we get to the end of this movie,
sure,
and the people in the trailer park get to meet the alien, you know, Grig?
Yeah.
It's First Contact. It's the end of First Contact.
Okay, that's funny. That's good.
It should be that DS9 intro you showed me that like riffs on that where he comes out and like shoots the person.
It's not DS9, it's Enterprise.
Oh, is that Enterprise? Okay,
yeah.
I knew it was one of them. Yeah. Should be that. Chocolate Man should just whip out a gun and just shoot an old woman.
No. It'd be the other way. The old woman would pull out the gun and kill him and steal a ship, because that's how, according to Enterprise, the Terran Empire forms. It's just some humans in a trailer park like this. Not actually a trailer park, but
too kindly to you chocolate
close enough.
Around here.
They somehow take over a bunch of the Alpha Quadrant with starting with just a single Vulcan ship that they can't even know how to fly? Makes no sense! It's fun, but it's insane. It makes no sense.
Oh my god, he crashed into the jetpack that they're developing in the first Spider-Man movie. The Green Goblin blows up.
I guess this stuff doesn't take up as much time as I remembered it, and it at least is integrated into the A story finally.
Mm. How do you like this guy's costume, Cap?
It's like a little generic.
Black sweater.
Yeah.
His costume reminds me a little bit of Jim Carrey's character in Lemony Snicket.
Oh, okay. Bad guys have turtlenecks in the 80s, Austin.
That is true. Turtlenecks and no hair.
I think Cat says Last Starfighter has most in common with Silver Age Green Lanterns, that they're like a Space UN or the Nova Corps in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's true. That's fair.
I was thinking of Nova earlier, where they all have those helmets.
Sure.
I think that the graphics work in Tron better than they work here, partly because, Tron doesn't... Oh, look, it's McFly's family.
Somebody's starting to miss an arm!
Yeah.
He's trying to steer it, but his arm's disappearing because he died back on Earth.
Because Tron doesn't take place in the real world, inside Tron where you're seeing all the graphics, obviously. And this is all the graphics out in the quote-unquote real world.
Yeah.
And it's just not...
Well, that's... It was appropriate in Tron because it needed to look like that. Mm-hmm. We're in a video game.
Right.
And, that's... I didn't think about this until you said that, Brandon. I wonder if the reason they don't go for model work is they're like, we're making a movie that's kind of about a video game, so let's try to
let's keep the video game
motif, and try to push forward the technology like Tron was doing. That is the 9th time somebody has said that. The Last Starfighter is dead. I want that
he's
prop.
About to use it.
I want it so bad.
Let's make one. Let's 3D print one.
We should make one. You know what the problem with it is, though? It looks like it should be the top of a scepter. It doesn't look like a weapon by itself. It looks like it should have a stick on the bottom of it.
I mean, unless you count that really racist TNG first season episode.
I'm sorry, what, Austin?
It's like a mace with a knife at the end of it.
Yeah, but the bottom of it is open. Like it should stick on top of something. And I keep expecting him to put a staff on it, but now that we're watching this again, I don't think he ever does. I think that's the whole thing.
Or at least like a chain so we can swing it around.
Oh, that's good. Make it a mace?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was that about racism?
The mace in that first season episode of Star Trek, that racist episode of Star Trek
well, I know
that
what you're talking
Tasha Yar
about,
uses.
Oh, right.
That's
right.
what his thing reminds me of and has been reminding me of, is one of those devices.
Oh, look at that guy.
Yeah. Don't be macist, Cap.
Oh. But to that Green Lantern point, in conceptualization with this anyway, it is cribbing from a lot of different places and isn't just Star Wars. But, not too long after your last Star Wars movie, it's pretty easy to look at this and go, it's just Star Wars. But, much less so than Battlestar Galactica.
Ammo packs.
All I'm saying is whoever wrote this, I think actually maybe read some science fiction. Was looking at the novels of the day too.
He opens it up and it totally has toggle switches in it that look unlike anything else we've seen technology-wise.
How do you guys feel about Death Blossom as the name of a rock band?
I almost said that earlier.
It's pretty good.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It'd be a good reference to, because a lot of bands like to go to 20 or 30-year-old obscure movies and pick out a thing and make it your band name, right?
I also thought that bald-headed female would have made a good hair band
album title, or bald-headed female.
Yeah. Like Four Non-Blondes, but it's not.
I mean, if we're just making it for Star Trek fans, Brandon, I would just call it Delton. But, you know, you can condense it and say it with a lot fewer words.
Well, what about a band named Mott the Barber?
Mott the Barber?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
How about Rogan and the Cadbarian?
That's great. Yeah. This looks okay. That looks like a model. I don't know if it is. But it had more depth to it. Should I do it? What do you think?
Should I do it? I have to use that on a video. Should I do it?
Austin, how do you feel about this guy's performance?
The main guy?
Yeah.
He's pretty like 80s teenager. He's
Oh man,
pretty fun.
he's in a cyclotron.
Look, he's tripping out.
Yeah, this is great though.
It's a death
Go on,
spiral.
go.
It's the death blossom. Why didn't you start with that?
Yeah, why do you lead with that?
Yeah.
So
Bury
that
the
was like
lead.
clear the screen.
I was going to say that. The
he
reason,
should've thrown
Brandon,
up.
is he's only got one screen clear per level, you see.
Yeah, there you
Was
go.
that, we were talking over it. Was that the Death Blossom?
That was the
Is that
death
what it
blossom.
does?
Yes.
Yeah.
He goes,
So you
fire!
pull that thing
He goes,
up and then-
should I do it?
Should I do it? We're going to get real dizzy real fast.
Well, he was lucky it wasn't like the Moonwalker one where it takes some of your health.
Ramming speed. What's that? What's that? Else is that from?
It's Generations. Where
No.
Worf goes like ramming speed.
There's something else he's thinking of. Anyway,
Oh.
yeah, it's not coming to me.
'Cause that is in one of the Star Trek movies. Oh, it's First Contact. That was the one I was thinking of, not Generations.
But yeah, that's not what he's talking about.
No, I know, but now I was stuck on it. Oh, the Chocolate Man's the big boss from RoboCop, and he's also in Halloween 3. He's the bad guy in that. I did not realize that.
Me neither.
That's pretty sweet.
Okay,
Halloween
here we are
3
back
is
to
the second best
back in the video
Halloween
game
film.
reality.
Yeah. Yeah, it really takes you out, going back and forth.
Oh, Cerebro's going down.
And as this is certainly a big round room, and of course, you want to
All
have
these Zeds.
historical perspective, and some things are like really charming from this period, where like it's the best we could do. This is not the best we could do. We could have used models.
Going down.
plasma coils.
Plasma coils. That's great.
His screen comes up on his eye. We die.
That's great. Yeah.
Perhaps today is a good day to die.
Brandon, are you not seeing a shocking amount of Galaxy Quest in this movie?
Oh yeah, totally.
I'd never had that thought before, but particularly with the other bad guys.
Oh, this theme is something, isn't it? I've heard
very
this theme somewhere.
I mean,
Superman.
it's this movie, but you're saying it's similar to something?
Yeah, because I've never seen this movie, but I've heard this. I don't know, maybe I just heard this theme.
You've probably heard something that's really similar to it, yeah.
Yeah.
His eyebrows are a comb over.
Yeah, I just don't know what specifically is coming to you, but...
Yeah.
And it's decisively not John Williams-y. Like, a lot of
No, that
a lot of the
was-
rest
that
of the
was not
score
the, like,
is...
Star Wars Celebration song.
Yeah.
He reminds me.
Well,
of
I mean, that was the
Oh my
opening
God.
theme, certainly.
He reminds me.
Oh, I
of
forgot he comes back. He's not dead. I forgot about
Sauron
this.
mixed with the Colonel. Yeah, right.
He looks like Sauron and Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, okay. I forgot about this. I don't care for that choice. He's not even a Force ghost.
Oh, I don't know what that is. I don't care.
Always trust Centauri. The adoring masses.
No, the ramming speed thing is a Worf quote. That's what's in my head. Maybe it is First Contact.
Yeah, because it's when they're fighting the Borg cube, and he's like ramming
Prepare.
speed, and then they
Yeah,
into it.
no, the way he delivers it, prepare for ramming speed, and I think it is first contact. I think that's right.
Well, it's because he's like prepare for ramming speed, and then they get shot, and he goes, "The plasma calls."
No, now you're conflating movies. Stop it.
That's the thing that happens. He's got a little flashlight. That he's aiming
It's
at
a different
the
movie. Stop it. This is already almost over, you guys.
What was the point of the kid in this movie? Never got out of bed.
Somebody really should put a tarp over that video game. Brandon's absolutely right about that.
That's why it's glitching out.
Yeah, finally got the wrong moisture.
Yeah, but why does it still look so nice?
Oh, because they have someone to clean it. So are they gonna come down and the town's not gonna accept the chocolate man, and then the main character's gonna go like, "Oh, I guess you guys aren't ready for that.
No.
Your kids are gonna love it."
Yeah.
This guy's an oldie where he comes from. All of his friends are dead.
Oh my god.
Hey Marvin, it's your cousin Barry. Barry Calvary. You know that new taste you've been looking for?
Sound you're looking for.
Landing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're so right.
No, this
about
is
that.
just yeah. Was First Contact looking at the Last Starfighter? It's the
Oh my
same
God.
scene. It's crazy.
Get Jonathan Frakes on the channel and ask him about it. Never mention Star Trek.
Just call him Jonathan Franks.
No, Jonathan Frakes.
You said Franks.
I definitely did not.
I frankly heard you say Franks. You might as well have called him Jonathan Hot Dogs.
Ballpark Frakes is
Ballpark
where I was going with
Frakes!
that. I was
That's better!
saying before you said
That's
that.
better!
Ballpark Frakes.
Ballpark Franks.
Or Frosted Frakes. There, make it so. Terrible joke, but still.
Ah, you've ruined it. It's no longer fun. Oh my god. Frosted Franks.
So that made the night. 10 people can watch this video and it'll be worth it because you got that line out of it. Oh, it's Darth Vader.
Some sort of astronaut, man.
Okay, so wait, we gotta fog up his helmet just so that she can't tell who he is, but nothing about this would make the helmet fog up.
Right, and also that'd be detrimental to your operating inside the helmet.
Well, unless it's, like, cold enough out there, Brandon, but is it supposed to be cold outside?
Maybe he has, like, a display screen, and we're, like, giving it too much credit. I don't know. Maybe it's cold.
Oh, they do have a shotgun.
Ah!
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
old woman with the... Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies got the shotgun over there.
I want a B movie called Grandma from the Beverly Hillbillies with a shotgun.
That's not who she looks like. She looks like Aunt B from Andy Griffith's Show.
Okay, granted, but she's holding a shotgun like Granny.
And then she steals the Griggs ship, and then she goes and starts the Terran Empire. Man, Brandon, I am really hungry for a snack right now, man.
Yeah.
I could go for some Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes. Part of a balanced, replicated
What's a
breakfast.
robot? Arr! Ah! Where's my Playboys?
That's why you got out of bed.
The line-
His Playboys.
When he comes out, his line should have been, "What the hell is that?"
What the heck?
I don't know.
How you doing?
No, I don't think she would have been as popular, Brandon.
All my friends, the trailer park.
He's got that laugh. That's one of the kind of memorable, iconic things with this movie is just his really silly laugh. Then they're lying.
Slimes. Jesus. You're trying too hard.
Mother of God.
I agree. The little twerp.
The few lines he's had, he's interjected some of the lowest form of slang from the 80s.
Or they just made up some.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Was there any kid that said slime?
I don't know.
We turned around and he was like, Jameson, you slime? Chocolate man.
That's true.
It's because he didn't get that loan.
What's your favorite species from the Last Starfighter? It's the Cadbarians. Thanks for the super chat, Thinking Cat. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, actually, before you came in, that apparently Will Wheaton is somewhere in this movie. I never saw him.
What?
Yeah, we were talking about that at the beginning, and I was kind of looking for him, but then I was also looking at chats and stuff, and I never saw him, but... Okay, but he was probably like an unnamed extra or something. Austin, like, I don't know that you'll find him.
No, but if you look up stuff like that on Google Images, you can typically find it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the movie's almost over. Do it over the credits.
I'm looking. Like, what's her face? Evangeline Lilly's in Freddy vs. Jason. She's like just behind the main character in like one shot.
That kind of stuff is never that interesting to me. Like when it's just, you know, somebody was like a stand-in extra, like trying to get a career. Like,
yeah, no,
okay,
it's just funny.
You gotta start somewhere. Like, yeah.
Look for a blue jacket standing behind Lewis in the final scene.
I guess it's more interesting when it's somebody who got like really super crazy famous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Brandon?
I look for a blue jacket standing behind Lewis in the final scene. That's Will Wheaton. You can't see his face, but his speaking lines were deleted, and so he's back there.
Is he the blue jacket kid right there?
That's according to what I looked up. Yeah.
Okay.
His speaking lines were deleted, and he's seen running around the trailer park.
This just isn't that interesting
of
to
the
me.
Beginning of the movie.
How excited do you think Will Wheaton would be to talk about a sequel to this movie, though?
Especially if he got paid for it.
Yeah, especially if he wasn't in it too. But everybody, all the other extras, got to come back.
I think he'd be real excited if he was told to be by people that gave him money. Like Brandon was saying, yeah.
Are you going with him? Yep, so these people are just going to be missing now, and, you know, government agencies will want to know what happened to them.
Especially the IRS, when they don't pay their taxes.
So the government's like, this is the story you came up with to cover up this murder in this small trailer park in this small town? Like, come on, guys. We're not buying it. Let's find that shotgun you buried in the backyard, Granny.
Who did the score for this movie? Did we talk about that?
The top 10 movies with secretly dark endings. Number 3, The Last Starfighter.
Craig Safon.
Weird.
Never heard of him.
He's really good at sounding like a lot of other composers, right? Because there's a lot of Williams in the score, but there's also a lot of Silvestri in the score.
Yes, I agree with both of those statements. What else has he done?
And I'm with Austin. I'm racking my brain trying to figure out what that theme sounds most like. Because there's something grabbing at the back of my brain,
right?
Yeah. Particularly, and I can't. Well,
it sounds a little bit like
there's a little bit of Superman there, but I feel like there's something not John Williams in it, and anyway.
I mean, there's a little bit of a Spaceballs too, but Spaceballs is obviously riffing on the John Williams.
And that's
stuff.
after this. But what were you saying?
I'm wondering for me if Plinkett played this theme in one of his Star Trek videos. Maybe that's where I'm doing this.
Oh, okay. But I think there's
Elvira's apparently in this movie.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that earlier. One of the old ladies is named that.
Mm.
Okay, so Austin.
Oh, it was the blue jacket kid in that scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Austin, what's your verdict on this movie? What did you think of that?
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. I think I probably would put Tron and War Games over this, but I've liked all three of the movies we've done here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I like War Games better than this movie, but we talked over it, and
they're like pretty close.
I haven't had an unfettered watch of that, so
despite some of the hammy lines and despite the graphics, it's still a fun story, and I can get behind that. And
yeah, definitely.
It plugs in for a formula really effectively. You know, like, it knows how to make its characters likable enough, and it sets itself just far enough apart from all the stuff that it's pulling from.
Now everybody get Lawnmower Man set to timestamp 0.
In 2 weeks we're doing Lawnmower Man, and I don't think any of us have seen that movie.
Nope.
So that'll be like War Games.
So our Venn diagram is no longer, we're just individual bubbles of out and free floating out in interstellar space.
Right. But we're still useless in that none of us know video games well enough to be here.
We'll be in our individual lawns yelling at each other from...
That would be a great way to do Lawnmower Man. We're just all like old men yelling on our lawns. Separate lawn, like we do it remotely from different lawns.
That'd be kind of hilarious.
Filming on location from 3 different lawns.
We have the Canadian lawn in Canada.
All I know about that movie is that it'll probably have the worst effects we've seen so far.
Watch him be the best.
AMC Comics says, "Oh, parentheses, John Deere."
Oh. 10 points for that pun.
That was painful.
Atari Inc.
Oh, Atari made the graphics for that.
The video game available from Atari
So,
Inc.
Cap, I guess you were wrong about the effects not looking too good, or being too good for this era, because
I'm not, because I don't know that was playable.
So did they release the video game in conjunction with the movie?
No, there wasn't a video game.
The credit said video game available from Atari. The credit just rolled.
Yeah, but it wasn't. But I told you they made tie-in games to this. There's an NES game.
That's what I'm saying. They come out together. That they were all part of.
Well, yeah. It was a tie-in game. That's why they're advertising it there. But what I was saying was that they never. As far as I know, they didn't have a arcade console.
Version,
yeah.
Apple TV really wants me to
I just don't know what
that
point you're making right now. Like,
no, I just thought that the game was released afterwards. I didn't know it was available beforehand.
I mean, that's how you did it. You usually back then had tie-ins right at the same time.
Gotcha.
Like, you got it out the same way that you did. I mean, I'm sure different things were different, but I mean, it was like soundtracks, right? Where it's like, you've got the vinyl, like, weeks
that was,
before the movie releases.
Going up, like, one of the biggest issues with the video game tie-ins for movies was that they had to come out at the same time, and video games take longer to develop than movies, so they wouldn't have enough time for a lot of them. And that's why the X-Men Origins Wolverine game is so good, because they started to do it, and then I think the movie got pushed back like 6 months, so the game had more time.
Thinking Cat put in another super chat and says, should cover Locker 1981. It was first use of CGI. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Interesting.
Yeah. Daniel Davis Atari made a prototype for a Last Starfighter game, but it was never actually published. Okay, interesting.
They buried it next to the E.T. game.
Right, yeah. Well, that's an important thing to note, is that we're right in the middle of the video game crash when this comes out.
This was the last thing Atari ever did.
We never heard about them again.
Yep.
The Jaguar was not them.
So there's a Nintendo cartridge of the Last Starfighter as well?
That's what I was talking about at the beginning of this, yeah.
Okay,
I have it. My wife and I have played it.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And it's surprisingly good.
And it's not bad, yeah.
Oh, that's right, because I made a comment. I'd like to play that sometime.
Yeah. That was a really long
Sweet.
time ago that we had that conversation.
Well, for some reason I was thinking you had the Atari game, but you don't even have an Atari, do you?
No.
I don't know
I
why
don't.
I got that so confused. Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, Atari might have developed that cartridge for Nintendo. I'm not sure. I don't know
Yeah.
if Atari developed
They do stuff
anything.
like that.
I don't know. I'm saying that going, I don't think that ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's weird that you'd have two different developers. Yeah, I'm not sure what that credit is about at the end of that, Brandon, the more we're talking about it. That's kind of weird. If, like, maybe they were developing it and that got in there, and then it's like, oh, psych, we actually didn't make that game.
I mean, to be honest, the
I don't know.
Last Starfighter's
don't
logos
know.
look a lot like Atari's, swooshing
That's
lines.
true.
Now
And
that you
that's
say it.
intentional.
Yeah,
I didn't think to mention that, but yeah, good call.
It's very Atari.
That's a thought I had years ago that in this viewing I did not think about. Yeah.
See, I'm here for something, just...
No, each of us brings something to the table,
Brand-
just
Brand-
not
Venn
anything
diagram.
like enough of a percentage
I want
of
to see
knowledge.
it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that Venn diagram later. I'm just going to be Austin, you, me, and never the three shall meet.
Are you gonna make a Vin Diesel diagram?
Oh man, that'd be cool.
Would it though?
Triple X, you got Triple X, you've got Fast and the Furious, and what's the other one? Pitch Black.
Pitch Black, yeah.
List?
Chronicles of Riddick. Thank you.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the Venn
Diesel
diagram.
right. Anyway.
Just a list of movies he's been in.
Yeah.
It's just his filmography.
Well, anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. It is time to put this car in the garage. We really appreciate you guys for watching this Star
Not where I
Car.
thought that sentence was going.
Yeah, I had to recover somewhere. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you again in 2 weeks for another one of these. We're going to be doing Lawnmower Man from 3 different yards.
Should I drive
And-
my lawnmower over here? No, just
No, it'll take too long.
yeah, it would.
Yeah, but anyway, Austin and I
Lawnmower Man.
we'll be back with you again on Tuesday for a request. We're going to be watching a movie called Conspiracy on HBO Max, and just in case you want to watch it before we do that. And lots more stuff coming up for you this week on Geekvolution. I'm Captain Logan. This is Brandon Grimm.
As the name tag says.
And Austin, the Day Ghost. The floating head in a red room.
I'm starting my lawnmower.
Oh, it's
All right.
push lawnmower.
Bye.